Hey, Stuart Sutton, hope you're having a great day. I'm going to cover 5 major traps that buyers and buyer's agents try to put you into and how you might consider navigating around them. Especially in today's market, negotiating is more important than any market I've seen in quite some time. Hope this helps. Let's jump right in. The 5 major traps I'm going to talk about are the ones that I see right here in our real estate market. And I'm sure it doesn't differ much in other real estate markets. Someone else might have a different list, but these are the 5 most common that I see. The first one is the low ball offer. They really aren't as common as you would think. Most real estate purchasers are buying based on emotion. So they're not really wanting to offend the seller. In order to reach a good deal, they have to make a fair and reasonable offer, because if it's a low ball, they're going to put the seller on the defensive. Now, I had a roommate in college, very large. He was a discus thrower, 6'6", 6'7", 270 pounds. We had some tickets one time, extra tickets that they give students, and we were going to sell those and have a few extra bucks for a few extra meals. We wanted $200 for them. First buyer walks up and he says, "I'll give you $100 for them." That we thought was a low ball offer. So my very large roommate sort of reared up at very tallest he could get, took his voice to a very deep level and said, "I've got to have 110. Of course, we all laughed about it later. That's not what he meant to say. We certainly think we left a lot of money on the table. But don't knee-jerk react to the offer. If you get a low ball offer, treat it as if it's a viable buyer and a buyer who truly has interest. Don't offend the buyer or the agent and tell them to take a hike or pound sand or whatever. I've seen many offers that we thought low come in and end up coming to a very nice agreement. So don't immediately reject that low ball offer. It may not work out, but there's a chance it could. Quick response. This one's not uncommon either, where the buyer or buyer agent wants a really quick response. And it kind of puts you in a situation of, well, if we don't respond, we may not be able to get this deal. Well, step back for a second. You might even let them know ahead of time, hey, we really appreciate the offer. We'll do our best, but we don't know if we can meet this quick deadline. If you put them in a position of thinking that you're doing them a favor or trying to help them out, it changes the perspective a little bit. So you might even ask for an extension. And if they give you an extension and say, yeah, it's okay if you go past 5 o'clock, that's okay. You know that they were just using that as a strategy. The quick response is usually accompanied with, hey, we have another house we want to buy, and we don't want to lose it. And that sometimes is true, sometimes not. Another one is good offer, bad terms. The price might look pretty good, but everything else is awful and just makes no sense. You got very low option money and earnest money and long option period. That's really kind of an indication of a not real sincere buyer, or it could be bad advice from somebody. But you might try to adjust that back to where the terms are more in line and explain why you feel that it'd be a more conducive situation for you if those terms are in line. And you're just not comfortable taking your house off the market for very low earnest and option money and whatever else terms might be addressed in the contract. Another is what I call unsupported angst, meaning they're trying to put you in a little bit of a concern or a frenzy or hey, what's the deal with that? Because they're coming in and saying, we've got to fix this, we've got to improve that, we've got to make that repair, and it's going to cost us a lot of money. All of a sudden you're going, wait a minute, we didn't know about this. Well, there may be nothing wrong, but it's a strategy. There's a bunch of things wrong with your house. We have to spend money on them. That's why we're bringing this offer in, and it's not quite as much as you might have expected. Well, if you're prepared, you can put information in front of them that reverses that. That's what being prepared is all about. If you already know that your electrical, your HVAC, your plumbing, your roof, foundation, that's all in great working order, or if there is an issue with something and you already know that it's a modest cost to fix it, now you can put information in front of them which makes sense. So don't just go into a panic about, hey, there's some problems, and or they think there's some problems and we've got to get that corrected. Just take a step back, identify what the real issues are, and get that back to the buyer or the buyer agent. And this one is what I call the too good to be true offer. Everything's perfect. Everything's fantastic. Might be. They might just absolutely be in love with your house. But be aware, especially in a multiple offer situation, sometimes a buyer will make a great offer and then they'll try to renegotiate. Typically after the inspection. After the inspection, they may come back and want a bunch of money, and it's just unsubstantiated. There's just no support for them wanting all that money. What they're trying to do is get the price back down to where they wanted to buy the house in the first place. What they've done is read a book on negotiation that says if you already have an agreement, you're more likely to adapt and move forward with the agreement. So that's not a great strategy in real estate, in my opinion. It may have worked for them before in other situations, but if they're coming in and trying to get unsupported, unsubstantiated repairs and improvements from you, then they're basically using this strategy. I hope that makes sense. Now, we have a process that we go through. We call it the 5-star pre-inspected home, which really prepares our sellers far beyond what is typical so that any of those situations we can navigate around, and we're much more likely to eliminate a termination of contract. And we're much more likely to reduce the chances of a renegotiation. If you want this, I've got another video on it. I'll be sure and send it out. You'll see it in the very, very near future. I hope this was helpful. If you like what you're seeing, go ahead and subscribe. Hope to see you on another video.